Japanese aesthetics teach us that beauty isn't just something we see, it is something we can feel. Over centuries, a different sensitivity has developed in Japan. It values imperfection and the quiet passage of time, finding beauty in materials left raw and unrefined, and in the depth that slowly emerges through use and wear. In this way, texture carries emotion and becomes a language, appearing in traditional architecture, crafts, and contemporary design. Today, let's explore how Japanese aesthetics express themselves through texture, and how beauty can exist in the things we touch every day. When we hear the word texture, we often think about how something feels to the touch. Rough stone, smooth wood, soft fabric. But in Japanese aesthetics, texture carries a deeper meaning. In many contexts, raw materials are treated as blank surfaces to be shaped, polished, and perfected. In Japan, however, a material's original texture is often seen as part of its identity. Texture is not only about the surface of an object, it is also about time, material, and atmosphere. The subtle qualities of a surface can reveal how something was made, how it has aged, and how it exists within its environment. This respect for material can be seen in traditional Japanese crafts and spaces. Surfaces are rarely polished to complete perfection. Instead, their natural character is allowed to remain visible. When you run your hand across the uneven grain of a hand-planed wooden board, you are touching the memory of the tree. To smooth it away entirely would remove the character that makes the material unique. Take handmade washi paper, for example. If you look closely, you can see tiny plant fibers scattered across its surface. These irregularities are not considered flaws. They are part of the paper's character. They remind us that the material comes from plants, water, and human hands. In this way, texture becomes more than a physical quality. Surfaces are not meant to be perfectly uniform. Instead, they quietly communicate the life of the material itself. In Japanese aesthetics, texture becomes a subtle language, revealing craftsmanship, nature, and the passage of time. However, in many modern environments, this sensitivity to texture has gradually faded. In much of modern design, beauty is often associated with smoothness and perfect symmetry. Looking around us today, many everyday objects seem to have lost their tactile pleasure. The phone we hold for hours each day is simply a smooth sheet of glass. Plastic furniture, polished metal appliances, and synthetic fabrics often share the same smooth, uniform surfaces. These materials appear clean and consistent, but they leave little texture for the hand to discover. In Japanese aesthetics, the surface of a material can almost be understood as its skin. It is where the material meets the world. This sensitivity to surfaces is closely connected to the idea of wabisabi, which finds beauty in irregularity, simplicity, and the natural character of materials. This quiet honesty reflects a deep respect for nature and for the process of making. The art critic Yanagi Soetsu expressed a similar idea, emphasizing that genuine beauty emerges when things are allowed to remain true to their nature. In traditional Japanese woodworking and carpentry, artisans often try to preserve the natural qualities of wood. Instead of covering it with heavy coatings, the surface is often left nearly untouched. Over time, the wood slowly ages, deepening in color while retaining the warmth and scent of the timber. When we touch raw materials, we encounter not only the material itself, but also the quiet presence of the maker. Over time, texture does not remain the same. Consider a copper tea canister. When new, its surface is smooth and cool. Over the years, the oils from the user's hands react with the metal, gradually creating a thin layer of oxidation. The surface slowly becomes warmer, darker, and slightly textured. It no longer feels like a simple piece of metal. Instead, it begins to feel connected to the person who uses it. Sometimes texture does not emerge only through gradual use. It can also appear through moments of damage and repair. When an object breaks, people often either discard it or repair it in ways that try to hide the damage. But in Japan, there is a different approach. The traditional technique of kintsugi repairs broken ceramics with lacquer mixed with powdered gold. Rather than disguising the crack, the repair makes it visible. The fracture becomes part of the object's surface, forming new lines that trace the history of the break. These golden seams transform the damage into a new form of beauty. What was once a flaw becomes a feature. Through this process, texture begins to tell a story of resilience, and the surface becomes a record of memory. In this way, texture reflects an acceptance of change, where time, use, and even breakage become part of an object's life. Texture is not only something we see, it is something we experience through the body. In Japanese aesthetics, surfaces are often designed to be felt as much as they are seen. Materials are chosen not only for their appearance, but also for the way they respond to touch. In Japan, the tradition of removing shoes transforms the entire floor into a kind of tactile landscape. You might move from the cold, rugged stone at the entrance to the firm, smooth wood of the hallway, and finally to the soft, springy, fibrous tatami of the living space. Consider the feeling of walking across a tatami floor. The woven rush grass has a gentle firmness under bare feet. It is neither completely soft nor completely hard, creating a quiet sense of comfort. At the entrance, the coolness of stone often marks the threshold between the public world outside and the private space of the home. A ceramic tea bowl offers a similar experience. When held in the hands, the surface may feel slightly rough or uneven, with small variations in color and shape. These irregularities reveal the presence of the maker. Even in gardens, texture plays an important role in sensory experience. The roughness of stone, the softness of moss, and the fine patterns of gravel create a landscape that is not only visual but tactile. Their differences remind us of the diversity of the natural world. These materials encourage a slower interaction with the environment. Rather than passing quickly through a space, people become more aware of the surfaces around them. Through touch, texture brings attention to the present moment. It reminds us that the physical world is rich with subtle sensations. In this way, texture deepens our relationship with everyday objects and spaces, allowing materials to be experienced not only with the eyes, but with the body. In a world filled with smooth and uniform surfaces, tactile beauty often goes unnoticed. Yet Japanese aesthetics remind us that the surfaces around us are never silent. The grain of wood, the softness of moss, the fibers of paper, and the roughness of clay all carry traces of nature, time, and human touch. When we begin to notice these textures, everyday objects reveal a quiet richness. Through this awareness, the world around us begins to feel more present, more intimate, and more alive. Which textures do you notice most? Is there one that feels meaningful to you? If you'd like to spend more time with these ideas, I've created a visual essay as a quiet extension of this video. You can find it in the description below.